A cold front sweeping in tonight, bringing some rain and cooler temperatures. How far does the thermometer drop? I'll let you know.
No place in political violence in America. None. Zero. Never.
Reaction tonight from the campaign trail and here at home, one day after another apparent attempt on former President Donald Trump's life. Plus, concerning discoveries tonight in Utah County's primary elections in June. The discrepancies being found at every polling place.
The city of Murray is one step closer to transforming its downtown. How the public is involved in creating the vision.
It made me feel just like my day was a waste.
And a group of Utah teens stepping away from social media. How a new program promises to rewild the child. Coming up.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9, starts right now.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Bob Evans. Kelly has the night off. We've had some beautiful weather over the weekend, but get ready for a change that will affect your morning commute. Utah's Weather Authority, Breck Bolton, is in the Weather Center tonight. Breck.
Well, Bob, we're looking at seasonal changes where over the weekend, as mentioned, we have these warmer temperatures. We saw the sunshine. Today, the winds bringing in the clouds, a few rain showers. These winds indication that we do have an approaching cool front. Now, as we take a look at some of the wind gusts being reported, we've seen ranges anywhere from 48 miles per hour in Bluffdale, upwards of Causeway, reaching 66 miles per hour. Now, as we take a look at the current wind conditions, winds settling down just a little bit across western Utah, bigger focus across eastern Utah, which will be the case tomorrow as the front does move in, and we'll find some stronger southwest winds across eastern Utah come tomorrow. Now, in the flow, we are pumping in some upper level moisture, a little bit more cloud cover, not so much across southern Utah, actually looking like conditions are fairly clear there. Once you reach Utah County, we're looking at light rain, kind of a hit and miss through some areas, as you can see, potentially as you make your move through Spanish Fort Canyon. Here across the Salt Lake Valley, fairly quiet. We are seeing that cloud cover. We look upstream, though, where most of the focus is currently in Tooele and Box Elder County, where we have been looking at some scattered rain showers, even some thunderstorm activity. But the brunt of the storm with the associated cool front still making its move, tracking closer towards Wendover. This is what's going to be moving here in the overnight hours. So we are going to be looking at some changes with this cool front moving in, where we initially get some rain and then tapering off, and then a resurgence as we look for tomorrow morning. As we're going to be looking at that rain, what does it mean for your morning commute, and how does the rest of the week look? We'll let you know coming up in just a few minutes.
Breck, thanks so much. There is a new wildfire burning in Utah tonight. It's called the Prairie Fire on the Utah-Colorado border in Grand County, north of I-70. It's spread rapidly, burning nearly 2,000 acres. Crews from both states are responding to this fire. They say it was caused by lightning. The winds are pushing the fire into the sage and grass to the north, so they're going to have their hands full for a while. Tonight, authorities say it appears the suspect in the apparent assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump yesterday acted alone. This comes after an 8-minute appearance in federal court today in West Palm Beach, Florida. Ryan Wesley Ruth faces charges of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Cell phone records show Ruth was in the golf course area for about 12 hours yesterday. When the Secret Service saw a rifle poking out of the tree line, an agent fired in that direction.
The president wasn't even really supposed to go there. It was not on his official schedule. And so we put together a security plan, and that security plan worked.
Police arrested Ruth after spotting his vehicle on a highway about 45 minutes later. More charges could come at a later date. As officials ramp up security measures around former President Trump, both he and Vice President Kamala Harris are planning trips to key battleground states. Scripps News national correspondent Maritza Giorgio reports in the latest installment of our Path to the White House series.
Former President Donald Trump will return to the campaign trail just days after another apparent assassination attempt. Trump has campaign events planned in Michigan, New York, and North Carolina this week. Officials in Nassau County, where Trump is set to hold a rally on Wednesday, said there would be enhanced security around that event.
The president is aware that he has highest levels of protection that the Secret Service is providing him.
Speaking at a conference on Monday, President Biden condemned the attack.
No place in political violence in America. None. Zero. Never.
It all comes as the latest polling shows the race between Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris is closer than ever, with razor-thin margins in critical swing states like Arizona, Michigan, and Nevada. Vice President Kamala Harris participated in a private meeting at the International Brotherhood of Teamsters headquartered in Washington, D.C., as Democrats eye an endorsement from the union. Harris is returning to battleground states this week with campaign events planned in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Maritza Giorgio, Scripps News.
With the election just 50 days away and one of the candidates surviving 2 assassination attempts, how do we lower the political temperature in this country? I spoke this afternoon with Jason Perry, director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics at the University of Utah.
The secret here is there can be no ambiguity about the desire to tone it down, to cool things off. It's not a time for sort of half measures or words that can be taken different ways. This is an issue that impacts all of us. It impacts the entire country. So whatever your side you are on, the collective responsibility, even if it will take some time, is to realize we've been letting a lot of things go to get to this point. We're gonna have to analyze what those are, and we're gonna have to stop those immediately. And that is what we're gonna take over a period of time. And my hope is that maybe even after what has just happened today, we start seeing people looking at the situation saying, this is something that is unacceptable. And it will start with our elected officials. There's blame enough to go around.
Perry says it's going to take some time to actually cool down the political temperature, enough that these kinds of extreme events will lessen. But he says it's something everyone on all sides must work on. That's a sentiment with which Utah Republican Party Chair Robert Axson agrees.
These types of events can never be okay. And that's what we have to make clear as American citizens. Let's engage in the process, and you voice your concern and you voice your opinion in the ballot box, and by volunteering and encouraging people to see things your way, you never result to violence.
Utah Congressman and candidate for U.S. Senate John Curtis posted on X saying while he is relieved former President Trump was unharmed, it does not seem to me that the Secret Service has learned its lessons from June. He said, we need to know what it'll take for him to receive the full protection he desperately needs. Fox 13 News will continue to follow this major national story on air and online at fox13now.com. Tonight, we are hearing from the family of the Salt Lake County Sheriff's deputy who was allegedly killed by her father. The sister of 25-year-old Marbella Martinez says she meant the world to her and that losing her has left her feeling completely empty. She says all she wants is justice for her sister, and that the best thing for her father to do is turn himself in. 54-year-old Hector Martinez Ayala was charged with his daughter's murder earlier this month. She was found dead at a house in Tooele August 1st. If you know where Hector Martinez Ayala is, call the Tooele County Sheriff's Office. The transformation of downtown Murray has been a city goal for years now, and tonight they're one step closer to revitalizing the area with the help of public opinion. Fox 13 News reporter Emily Tenser shows us how city planners hope to balance the area's history with something new.
Thousands of Utahns drive down State Street every day, but the city of Murray wants its downtown stretch to be a destination, not just something you pass by.
Right now it's a bit chaotic, congested, especially in peak time.
For years, the battle over the area's look has been between preserving the old and bringing in the new.
So I'm very happy to be part of Murray. At the same time, there's some uncertainty, so we want to see Murray heading to a brighter future.
On Monday night, the city hosted an open house to develop a form-based code to help with future designs.
Form-based code is a little different than your traditional zoning, where we're being a little less prescriptive and a little more open to differences in styles.
The community used stickers to take a stance on building heights and shared comments on various character districts, writing things like, Murray has too many apartments already.
How do we as a organization, ensure we keep the character, retain the character elements, and build something that matches what the community wants to see.
The city is working with the same developers who transformed Holidays downtown over 10 years ago.
The demographics here are amazing. The traffic that goes by here is really off the charts. How many people are passing through here every day.
Amy Bennett's business, Amy Boutique, was the first store to open in that redeveloped area, and she's watched the location thrive. As a Murray resident herself, she hopes to see a same change.
It would be great to have Murray to be a copy of this. I've absolutely loved being here in Holiday.
Once the code is established, they have to submit it through a formal project application, and then that has to be approved by the Architectural Committee and the Planning Commission. They're hoping to get it done sometime by the end of the year or into January. Reporting in Murray, Emily Tenser, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Coming up, an audit conducted by the Lieutenant Governor's Office finds problems with Utah County's primary election. What went wrong and what's being recommended to prevent it from happening again. Plus, Utahns trying to conserve water are making a discernible difference in levels at the Great Salt Lake. How you made a difference.
It's time for Big 12 play for BYU and Utah, and they both start against tough ranked opponents. We'll hear from both coaches coming up.
The Utah Lieutenant Governor's Office is reporting significant issues in Utah County's primary election in June. They say there were vote discrepancies found at every polling place and a high rate of rejected signatures for mail-in ballots. It's all because of a system implemented by the Utah County Clerk called FastCast. It allows people to take their finished mail-in ballot and put it into a voting machine at a polling place instead of signing it and putting in a drop box. But there's a big problem. In order for FastCast to work, the Lieutenant Governor's Office says a key security feature has to be disabled, and doing so makes it possible for multiple ballots to be cast by one voter. In all, there were at least 19 instances of that happening. The Lieutenant Governor's Office also found that Utah County's signature rejection rate was higher than the statewide average and more than 5 times higher than it was last year. The Utah County Clerk's Office says election staffers were being more strict with signature reviews. In all, the Lieutenant Governor's Office is recommending that the FastCast voting process be either abandoned or fixed before the November general election. A Utah judge's decision to void Amendment D last week could renew scrutiny about another state constitutional amendment. The Utah Education Association, the state's largest teachers union, says it's looking at all options now that a judge ruled on Amendment D. The UEA is a vocal opponent of Amendment A, which asks voters to let the legislature dip into the income tax for other budget needs. Right now, it's earmarked for public education. The UEA would not say whether it would seek its own legal challenge to Amendment A, only that all options are being explored. If you want to weigh in on a proposed $500 million bond for public safety and homelessness, here's your chance. The Salt Lake County Council will take public comment on the $507 million bond that remodels the Salt Lake County Jail and builds a new center to help people avoid homelessness. The council will also take comment on an extension of the Zoo Arts and Parks tax. The meeting starts at 4 p.m. tomorrow afternoon at the County Government Complex. Today, Fox 13 News got a preview of the new Teen Center at Ben Lomond High School in Ogden. It's touted as a safe place with access to showers, laundry, food, hygiene, and clothing supplies, and connections to community resources and trusted adult advisors for teens needing help.
We deal with and occasional homelessness, we deal with food insecurities, we deal with family mental health needs. So it's so imperative to have a center like this and a person that's available to help support our students in their time of need and to work with their families.
This new teen center and another at Ogden High School have been opened in partnership with the Ogden School Foundation. Well, as Breck was saying earlier in the newscast, we're in for some changes tomorrow morning. You better be ready for the commute.
Yeah, we're kind of going back to fall, where for this weekend, of course, we were feeling the summer heat. As we're bringing the fall, it's going to be sticking around in that temperatures. Well, we're going back down into the 70s and staying there, and we could wake up with some rain that you need to be mindful in preparation for tomorrow morning's commute. Now, storm clouds coming through here as we got this photo coming up on our Facebook page from Liz. Looks like this is kind of North Salt Lake, in between North Salt Lake and Bountiful. Well, we're going to see more of this come tomorrow, even a better chance, as mentioned, where we see that threat and looking like we could see some scattered rain showers, even some thunderstorms here in the overnight hours. Highs today getting up in the mid 80s. You can see on average we should be in the low 80s. Not going to see 90s in the forecast here over the next 7 days. Difficult to get out of the 70s. So, but today, for most spots here across northern, west central, even into southwestern Utah, we did have temperature readings in the 80s. Right now, we're in the 70s here along the Wasatch Front. Still finding winds out of the south, sustained, as you can see, in Salt Lake City at 14 miles per hour. Wind direction changes a little bit here in the overnight hours. We usher in some cooler air, as that's going to allow conditions to really be changing for tomorrow. Winds really kind of more of a focus across eastern Utah, where we have stronger wind gusts at an excess of 50 miles per hour across western Utah. So that wind focus into east, as we'll bring in the clouds and chances of rain showers from most of northern into central Utah. It's going to stay at least somewhat unsettled here across northern Utah as we move through the week, at least for a couple more days. St. George, you're not seeing much rain up until Friday. We looks like we'll see a better chance of maybe seeing some brief rain showers, maybe even an isolated thunderstorm. Not so much there looking towards the weekend. And for northern Utah, we're going to get hit tonight, and additional showers come tomorrow afternoon into the early evening hours. A little bit of break on Wednesday into Thursday, some more rain on Friday, tapering off though as we move through the weekend. So really the big focus will be for Tuesday and Friday here across northern Utah. You can see we're priming the pump, allowing for the upper level moisture ahead of the front is sweeping here across northern Utah. That's where, again, the rain activity fairly confined, but it's not very heavy, kind of more sprinkles here as we move through Utah County. Not much going on through the Salt Lake Valley. Over the higher terrain, maybe seeing a little bit more action there. Really, currently, we're seeing more scattered rain showers and thunderstorms in Box Elder and Tooele County, and then lagging behind associated with this low pressure system where we have a little bit more instability. We're getting more active weather. This will slowly make its move. It gets here by tomorrow morning, and then we see a second wave coming through, not packing a lot of precipitation, but it will keep temperatures somewhat suppressed and below average here over the next few days. But as far as the rain is concerned, we get it going tomorrow, and it's kind of a timeline between 6 and 7 a.m. and lingering on through most of the morning commute. But you can see where we see most of the accumulation will be across northern Utah, from Logan heading over towards Provo into Price. Look at Uinta Basin getting kind of a lot more precipitation there. But really, as we look at the readings here over the next 48 hours, it looks like northern into northeastern Utah, you get the brunt of the rain. Now for tonight, we get those showers that kind of go a little bit after midnight, then a little bit of a break. Resurgence come tomorrow morning, where yes, it could be impacting your morning commute. You've got the rain, you could be looking at some standing water, so you need to be cautious in your travels come tomorrow. Then we get a break heading into the early afternoon, but afternoon showers expected, especially Ogden northward as we track through the day. Look at those temperatures though. Quick drop by about 10 to 15 degrees, where we're looking at 60s and 70s across northern Utah, in a similar range across west central Utah. Eastern Utah, you've got the winds, but for southern Utah, it's a lot of sunshine even for tomorrow, but it will be cooler as we'll be looking at temperatures getting back into the 80s. That chance of rain on Friday. Clear for the weekend, as you see 90s in your forecast for southern Utah. So rain on Tuesday for northern Utah, some clouds on Wednesday. We'll keep it in the 70s. Some showers briefly before we head into the weekend. Looks like mid 70s, more fall-like weather tracking over the next 7 days. So here we go. We're getting rid of that summer heat and bringing rain to go along with it. We'll be back right after the break.
In national news, the attorney for rap and hip-hop mogul Sean Diddy Combs says his client has been arrested. Combs was taken into custody at a Manhattan hotel tonight and was immediately processed. His attorney says he's been cooperating with the investigation. He apparently even relocated to New York last week in anticipation of being charged. He and his team maintain his innocence. The charges filed against him have not yet been released, but he has been under scrutiny since last year after a lawsuit filed by his former girlfriend Cassie accusing him of sex trafficking and years of abuse. The man suspected of killing 4 University of Idaho students has been transferred to a new jail after being granted a change of venue for his upcoming trial. The Idaho Supreme Court moved the trial of Brian Koberger to Boise in Ada County. The court sided with his attorneys, who said the extensive media coverage in Moscow, Idaho, where the killings happened, would make it difficult to find an impartial jury there. His trial is set for June 20th through the 25th of next year. He has pleaded not guilty to all charges. An appeals court heard oral arguments today about whether TikTok should be banned in the U.S. A law passed by Congress last year requires the app to be rid of its China-based parent company, ByteDance, by January or face a nationwide ban. The U.S. government argues ByteDance's connections to China represents a national security threat. TikTok and ByteDance are challenging the law, arguing it violates free speech rights. This battle is expected to reach the U.S. Supreme Court.
It's a scam targeting senior citizens in our community. It's spoofing to be a legitimate organization, but what happens next could cost you thousands.
We have water every day.
Really good news to report when it comes to the Great Salt Lake, how you've helped make a difference, coming up.
Former Utah quarterback Tyler Huntley is on the move in the NFL. I'll tell you where he's headed coming up.
There is a warning this evening about a scam targeting seniors. Fox 13 News anchor Amy Nay shares one woman's story who narrowly avoided losing thousands of dollars.
It was really easy to fall victim.
78-year-old Maxalyn Franson from Gunnison says she's not usually duped.
I had gotten a scam on my iPhone a few days before this, and it just closed out. But when this one popped up, I thought, what is going on?
She said it seemed like a legitimate message from a reliable source notifying her that her bank account was compromised.
They gave me the idea that they already knew what I had in there, and that somebody had tried to get it out.
The caller gave her specific instructions to withdraw her full account in cash and bring to an alleged FBI agent to assist.
They told me not to tell anybody, to stay on the phone with them and, get my money out.
But a teller at her local bank noticed Maxalyn was acting off and notified police, and they got a hold of her family.
It was a scam. It was a scam. It was a scam.
Still on with the scammer, Maxalyn finally took a call from her daughter while on her way to hand over her cash.
I was lucky that I didn't lose my money and come back home.
And Maxalyn isn't alone. Here at the Gunnison Valley Police Department, they say they investigate nearly a dozen similar cases, but they say there are certain things that you need to watch out for.
You've got to send us this money. You've got to do it right now. It's always rush, rush, rush. And the scammers are even getting to where they're trying to keep the victim on the phone so they can't call family members to verify whether any of this is real. If it seems weird and they're in a hurry, be very suspicious.
Interim Police Chief Tyler Donaldson with the Gunnison Valley Police Department says if you're contacted, don't be afraid to hang up and call your bank or local police to verify independently what you've been told.
We're finding that these scammers are getting more and more creative, and they're also getting more and more detailed. These scammers were able to tell the victim exactly what the bank tellers were going to ask her, how the bank tellers were going to react. They coached her on what to say.
Working with authorities in nearby Juab County to help thwart this particular scam.
We were able to stop her en route to meet with one of these scammers with a large amount of cash.
Grateful for officers and her local bank for stepping in to help.
Just be careful.
Coming forward to share her story, hoping it will save someone else from being scammed themselves.
So if I help somebody else, that'll be great.
Reporting in Gunnison, Amy Nay, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Now to a big donation of water to the Great Salt Lake and a sign that conservation is working. Fox 13 News political reporter Ben Winslow explains just how big this donation is and why viewers like you are to thank for it.
Hendra Suherman likes to fish along the Jordan River.
Well, this year the river condition is really good.
The water's a little higher right now thanks to increased flows from Utah Lake.
It's really better for the fishermen, so we can go fish every day.
It's also better for the Great Salt Lake.
It's really important time. It's fall migration. There are still many species migrating in the wetlands around Great Salt Lake.
About 10,000 acre-feet are now going from Utah Lake, 50 miles up the Jordan River, to the Great Salt Lake. It's a combination of leases and donations from the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and the Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District. The Utah legislature spent $40 million to create the Great Salt Lake Watershed Enhancement Trust. That's run by the Audubon Society and the Nature Conservancy. The goal is to purchase water to save the Great Salt Lake.
It's new water going to the lake. If we weren't doing this transaction, this water wouldn't be going down the Jordan River into the lake at this time.
The Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District says the extra water is thanks to people's conservation.
We're excited for the late season release to really benefit the Jordan River ecosystem and the Great Salt Lake, where normally the river is close to being dry. But with this late season release, it's really going to enhance the environment, and it's a positive for the community.
They contributed 5,300 acre-feet of water, roughly the same amount Jordan Valley Water customers saved last year.
If not for those conservation efforts, the water probably would have remained in Utah Lake as a hedge to help us store more water in Deer Creek or Jordanelle.
The Great Salt Lake is starting to show signs of recovery thanks to strong winters.
North Arm and South Arm are now within just 1.5 feet of each other, and so you see that equilibrium.
But the head of Utah's Department of Natural Resources says conservation remains critical to saving the Great Salt Lake.
We pray for these big winters. We can't always rely on them. Trends are, looking like it might be a drier, warmer winter. And so we have got to continue to focus on conservation.
Suherman says he'd like to see water releases continue along the Jordan River.
I hope it's going to be happening all year long until next year and next year again, so we never have any dried up again,
Now, this may not be the last time something like this happens. The trust tells me it hopes to negotiate for future water releases in the coming years. In Saratoga Springs, Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Today, Governor Spencer Cox nominated Joel Ferry, his Natural Resources Cabinet Officer, to be the state's water agent. A new bill passed by the legislature this year tasks Ferry with finding and obtaining new water for the state. Today, he told Fox 13 News what the job could entail.
It could include pipelines, it could include negotiating with other states, leasing water from other areas. All of that is on the table, certainly. But ultimately, it's what is in the best interest of Utahns, knowing what our needs are long term, and then setting up and creating a plan so that we can accomplish and meet those needs.
Ferry's nomination is expected to be confirmed by the Utah Senate. Breck?
Mother Nature bringing the water here as we look over the next 24 hours. Currently the rain mainly in Box Elder and Tooele County, so we're holding it back, but not for long. When does it come rolling in? I'll let you know after the break.
Utah fans looking forward to seeing 90s rock band Jane's Addiction on stage in Sandy early next month. Got some disappointing news today. The band has canceled the rest of its tour, including the October 4th date at the Sandy Amphitheater. It follows an explosive on-stage fight between Perry Farrell and Dave Navarro last Friday night, I should say, in Boston. If you had tickets to the concert instead, you're looking at video of that fight on stage right now. In fact, the stage crew and other band members had to restrain Farrell. Really weird. Well, listen, if you had tickets to the concert in Sandy, you can get a refund from wherever you bought those tickets. As Hispanic Heritage Month kicks off, the University of Utah's Kem C. Gardner Policy Institute has compiled some interesting data. Hispanic or Latino residents make up more than 15% of Utah's population now. 1 in 10 Utahns identify as Mexican. That's the most common nationality, followed by Spaniard, Salvadoran, Peruvian, or Spanish. Utah has the largest share of Chilean residents in the nation and the second largest shares of Argentinian and Venezuelan residents. Next, could you go without your smartphone for a whole year? We'll introduce you to a nonprofit hoping to help children reclaim their childhood.
Big 12 play is here for the Utes and Cougars, and they both start off with ranked opponents. We'll hear from Cam Rising on what he expects this week, and a couple of local players getting touches on the offensive side of the ball tonight in the NFL. I'll tell you how Tyler Algier and Britton Covey played tonight.
A dog was saved from a large apartment fire in Midvale this morning. Happened at the Hill Creek condominiums. Crews found the unresponsive dog in a kennel and revived it with CPR. The residents were not home at the time. Investigators believe this started as a cooking fire. Ogden School District now has its own canine officer. Piper is a 2-year-old female German short-haired pointer. She will work at schools in the district to detect firearms, ammunition, and some explosive materials. Ogden and Granite are the only 2 school districts in the state with canine officers like this. A group of teens has signed up for a program that requires them to step away from social media for at least 1 year to reconnect with the real world. Fox 13 News reporter Mark Blaine takes us inside Rewild the Child.
It made me feel just like so unproductive and so just gross, and like my day was a waste.
18-year-old Lauren Fellers referring to how she would spend at least 3 hours a day on her smartphone engaging in social media. That is until a Utah-based program that gets kids to interact with each other in the great outdoors motivated her to cut social media out of her life.
We're right in the middle of the biggest mental health crisis the youth have ever faced.
Glenn Anderson is the founder of the nonprofit Rewild the Child.
This sign clearly says, listen to the rock.
I've dedicated my life to helping teenagers. I think the youth that are coming up are powerful.
But Anderson is concerned about how social media is impacting young people's mental health.
Depression, anxiety, suicidal thoughts, self-harm, it's all skyrocketing right now. And so we wanted to start a program that would combat that.
Sure. 3, 2, 1.
Not an easy task when so many young people are so concerned about the image they project in the social media universe.
I will be hanging out with groups of people when we're trying to take a picture. We can't just have like a goofy expression on our face and, you know, be doing something funny. They always have to like pose and look a certain way. And I think that's kind of sad because it's not real.
At the end of the day, Anderson says Rewild isn't about forcing young people to put down their smartphones. Rather, he calls it a challenge by choice.
You can feel it. There's like an undertone where there's some kids that are like, we don't like the childhood we're living. We want to live disconnected. We want to just go out and play games and talk face to face and like make real life connections.
Now, the participants in the program don't have to disconnect completely. If they like, they can use a Gab Phone 4 free of charge.
And what it does is it gives them access to still text and call, and there's a music app on there, and there's ways parents can track them if they want to.
Anderson says so far 60 to 70 kids have signed up for the free program. And though it's in its infancy, it's already getting results.
I can focus on being present in my life. Instead of focusing on what other people are posting or what they're doing, I can focus on what I need to do and just not waste my time.
Mark Blaine, Fox 13 News, Utah.
You know, this reminds me of the late and great, many would say, Colin Karchner, who here in Utah was a huge advocate of getting kids off of social media and back out into the wild.
I heard him speak with a youth group, and it made an impact for sure.
Well, I know our kids saw him speak as well and came back. Our son Joseph came back and said, "Mom, here is my phone. Don't ever give it back to me."
Wow, that's impressive.
course,
that lasted
2 weeks
for-
later,
I know.
they were a little bit different.
It's tough
but
to
Colin
unplug.
Kirchner had that same message, and a lot is being said about getting kids to get back outside and play outside and get in the wild.
Definitely need moderation.
Yes,
Yeah.
you sure do.
All right. Speaking of getting out in the wild, maybe
You're
getting
gonna get
outdoors.
wet if
You're
you do
gonna
that.
get wet, that is for sure. We've got another rainstorm, cold front moving through, starting to see the impact and starting to see the showers having an influence here across portions of northern Utah through the Wasatch Front. A view, as we can see from our Natural History Museum camera, looking west across the west side of the Salt Lake Valley, starting to see that rain falling. But it's a little bit further west to the brunt of the storm, where that's where we're going to keep it here. Now, looking at the wind gusts, we're starting to see some stronger wind gusts towards south central and then towards eastern Utah come tomorrow, where again, out of the south, we're finding these strong winds where, as we show you with our wind forecast, where not so much here as we saw today, northern western Utah, as the front will be moving through. It's really across eastern Utah. We see that enhancement and some stronger winds. So potentially we could see some wind advisories or even red flag warnings put in effect across eastern Utah come tomorrow. Washington your car. Don't do it tomorrow, especially in the morning hours. That's when we're going to get hit with the rain. In the afternoon, it's kind of scattered here along the Wasatch Front. Wednesday, there's a chance that we could still see some lingering rain showers. You should be good to go Thursday, but then Friday, we're going to see more rain in the forecast, both across northern and southern Utah. The rain, though, really confined, though, across the north, with the biggest focus as we look in Box Elder and Tooele counties. But again, as we're looking through Utah County, starting to see a little bit more action here. Again, not the thunderstorm activity. We're just mainly looking at some rain showers. You can see this little piece that's moving a little bit further west of Ogden, but filling in here through the Salt Lake Valley, where we expected to see it really start filling in as we look towards tomorrow morning, where this front will be tracking through, bringing the moisture. We got the circulation around this low pressure, which is actually moving towards the northeast, which as it does make its move for southern Idaho, will keep the active weather going mainly north of Ogden heading into the afternoon. Then we get another wave pushing through. This will keep temperatures a little bit on the cooler side. This looks like it'll bring potentially some rain on Friday, but let's get you here over the next 48 hours. Here's the position of the front. Again, as we move through the overnight hours, we really get things going, at least for extreme northern Utah, between 2 and 3 a.m., but let's look what happens right during the morning commute. We start to see those showers pushing through, kind of delaying it just a little bit. I thought it was between 6 and 7 a.m. Now 7, 8 a.m., except over the higher terrain, maybe moving through the canyon, you'll see that rain a little bit earlier on. Now as we head into the afternoon, you can see that focus again, mainly north of Ogden. Maybe you could see a few isolated showers through the Salt Lake Valley. That low pressure system moves off towards the northeast. We could see again a few isolated showers on Wednesday, but the brunt of the storm is really going to be hitting come tomorrow morning and then tomorrow afternoon for extreme northern Utah. Here are your overnight lows. It's going to be cooler here across the state as for tonight and tomorrow as well. We're going to almost see about a 15-degree drop in temperatures, where for most locations we're in the 60s and 70s. You're enjoying the sunshine across the south. Eastern Utah, you've got the winds. St. George, you don't see the rain until Friday. You get a nice little cool down, but you're back into the 90s heading into Saturday and Sunday. Northern Utah, the best chance of rain will be tomorrow, and then Friday. Weekend looks to be good, but we'll keep temperatures below average in some very nice, comfortable temperature range between 70 and 75.
Big 12 play starts this week for Utah, and they start with a dandy. The 12th-ranked Utes will play on the road against 14th-ranked Oklahoma State. It's a big-time matchup to start conference play, and it sounds like the Utes expect Cam Rising to be back at quarterback.
When he's ready to go, he's going to be ready to go this week. Respecting the same things as where he left off, even better. Respecting the whole offense to rally around him, all guys rally around him, and we're going to go out and get this thing.
That's all you ever dreamed of as a kid is just playing in big-time football games, and this is a great Oklahoma State team, so just chomping at the bit to get out there and get this thing going finally.
They're undefeated, 3-0, highly ranked, and as are we, so should make for a good matchup. Intriguing start for us to the first conference game in the Big 12.
It's also an undefeated matchup for BYU. The Cougars open up Big 12 play against 13th-ranked Kansas State, who knocked off 20th-ranked Arizona last week. The Cougars expect a tough challenge, so they need to bring their best against the Wildcats.
We knew that Kansas State had a really good team coming back, and we knew they're well coached and they're going to be ready for this game. And I thought we played our best ball of the year last week, and I'm looking forward to playing our best ball of the year this weekend. So that as long as we keep progressing and getting better, I want to see us make a huge step in improvement from Wyoming to the Saturday against Kansas State. A tough task. It's a difficult team. But man, it's going to be a lot of fun, and I want our guys to enjoy it. It's going to be a great opportunities for us too.
Utah State plays at Temple this week after putting up a good fight against Utah on Saturday. That came after getting blown out against USC. So the Aggies showed they're moving in the right direction.
We're getting closer, but we're still not right. We're still not there yet. A lot of missed opportunities. We got to make sure that we still hammer home details. We're going to talk about discipline all the time this week and make sure everything we do is consistently to a high level of detail over and over and over again, so it doesn't come down to a couple plays that we lose. It comes down to those plays that we've done a million times in practice, and now they're showing up in the game. So we're taking steps in the right direction, but we need to take another big one this week in order to get after Temple.
A couple of locals making plays tonight in the Falcons-Eagles game. Former BYU running back Tyler Algier picks up 15 of his 53 rushing yards. He also had a catch for 12 yards. And how about Britton Covey, the former Timpview and Utah star? Nice catch there. He had 6 receptions for 23 yards. Also had 1 punt return for 9 yards. Atlanta quarterback Kirk Cousins led the Falcons on a late touchdown drive with a game winner to Drake London. The Falcons won it 22-21. Former Utah quarterback Tyler Huntley moving from Baltimore's practice squad to Miami with the Dolphins starter Tua Tagovailoa out with a concussion. Huntley will be a backup in Miami. The Utah Hockey Club wrapped up the rookie face-off today with a 5-3 loss to Vegas. The Golden Knights built a 3-0 lead before Utah rallied for 3 goals from Cole Baudouin, Maverick Lamoureux, and Kyle Kovic. All these hockey names. We're going to talk to them on Wednesday.
You better take
they have
French.
Media Day, and we'll talk to all the guys, Clayton Keller, the whole crew, as they get ready for their first season here in Utah.
Utah 16 is your home. Our
It is
partner
pretty
station
awesome.
is your home for Utah Hockey Club.
We're excited.
All right, thanks so much, Jeff. We'll be right back. Did you guys see Good Day Utah today? Did you notice somebody different? Look who came back.
Look at this.
It's our traffic report. Well, first of all, traffic reports are coming back, but Katya Stepovic is back here at Fox 13 after being away for a while. You can tell she's grown up.
Fox is no stranger to me.
Yeah.
Been here 5 years ago. I woke up with you guys just on the other side of the newsroom.
That's right. Yeah, you were in the place where you were telling everybody what to do.
Yep.
That's right. Katya is going to be joining Dan and Carrie every morning on Good Day Utah starting at 5:30. She's going to tell you what to avoid and to either slow down or speed up out there on the road. So
in
probably
proper
tell
limits.
probably tell you to slow down.
Good to see her back, though.
Yeah, good to have her back.
Great
Welcome
addition.
back, Katya. Quick Cast is next.